World Combat Sports. Hello, everyone. This is the one and only Scotty White bringing you the boxing, MMA, and combat sports media. This is the aftermath of fight week, so you can hold on and stand by. I want to kick this off, giving a shout out to the undefeated horsemen over there in Columbia, South Carolina. Bang Your Music Group. Bang Your Music Group did an awesome video, man, highlighting Jalen Prison ABF title fight that he had as the main event over there in Columbia, South Carolina. Stokes promotion, Andrew Stokes, Garrett Pridgeon. So y'all stand by.
I'm just a country bar cowboy Billy, straight out the Piccadilly. I'm gonna strap the quarter up to a milli. Fair warning, you don't take gun smoke. No, you don't.
That gun smoke.
No, you don't. I put my family on my back, so I had to strap the saddle up the creek. How you gonna ride my way without a paddle? Trailer full of cattle, finna take them to the pasture. I don't listen to my mama giving hell to the pastor. You ain't get no hell about me unless you talking about a rail. See that Mississippi State diploma like all hell. We ain't trying to beat the cases when the race like Ricky Bobby. We don't put nothing on God, we just hollering by God. I'm just a country bar cowboy Billy, straight out the Piccadilly. I'm gonna step the quarter up to a milli. Fair warning, you don't take gun smoke. No, you don't take gun smoke. No, you don't take gun smoke. From my TV and it still just be my rodeo. Give me when I say you might have hate, but you don't know me. Keep my saddle back and never slip. That'll be your only hope. Pumping like I'm giddy, I don't really think you hold this road. Country boy living, I can see it in the difference. Like a quarter to a milli, I ain't having no pity. City at the city, getting cornbread, drippy. Make the best out what was given. I can money still spinning. I'm just a country bar cowboy Billy, straight out the Piccadilly. I'm gonna strap the quarter up to a milli. Fair warning, you don't take gun smoke. No, you don't take gun smoke. No, you don't take gun smoke.
How do you win? By unanimous decision. And the new American Boxing Federation World Champion, William
So there you go, fight fans. Just a shout out, to that Columbia heavy hitter over there, that welterweight champ, Jalen Horseman Prison, to the whole promotion, Stokes promotion, Andrew Stokes, Garrett Pridgeon, and everybody who's supporting Dominique Robinson Neal Academy over there, getting it done. You know what I'm saying? They're raising Jalen up, man. He has another contest pending next month. He'll be the main event again. But I just wanted to, put that out there on the video they just created. Ban Your Music Group, Gunsmoke, a hot one. Salute. So to the aftermath. Let me clear this up right quick. So hopefully everybody had a enjoyable weekend. About to talk about some facts that went down this week. Some simple facts that went down. First, I'm gonna start with boxing with the Jason Rosario fight. Him defeating JROCK. I can say that I'm ultimately shocked, as if we was watching Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't one of those long-term title reigns that we can latch on to and say Julian Williams is a person that I thought would have reigned for a long time. We wasn't sure about that, so we were still holding on, giving some leeway as much as possible. Support the new unified champ from a phenomenal performance against Jared Swift-Hurd. But this weekend, man, it just went all the way to the ground and crash and burn without even checking the chute. It's almost like you jumped out the hatch and you forgot the pack. Something else was going on with Julian Williams. He wasn't himself. I would say in the second or third round, his mouth was open. The only damage that he was wearing in the fight was the cut over his left eye, right? So when everything else, it's almost like it came a residual effect that didn't make sense. You had a cut over the eye, but your mouth is open. You didn't get punched in the jaw like that or the nose to consider you was having problems breathing out your nose, so you had to breathe out your mouth. It was everything that could have went wrong. Probably started in training camp, to be honest. Something wasn't right. We know Rosario was the bigger fighter. Okay, he went in there against a bigger fighter, just as imposing in Jared Hurd, and he was strong that day. He went in there and handled the business the way it's supposed to be done and came unified champion and convinced the people to say, just because somebody had one loss, don't jettison us as a fighter as if we can't do anything. He convinced a lot of people, especially those over there in Philly, that's the message he was trying to send in such a dominating performance. And we was listening, our ears moved closer, and we said, yeah, we hear you, JROCK. That knockout from Jamal Charlo, it looked bad. And people probably frowned upon you and say you didn't have a chin. But this weekend, those same people will probably return and rest their hands gently on the keyboard once again, as they're doing, and start criticizing you. Because that was your first defense, man. It wasn't successful. Not only was it not successful, but you were stopped early. I mean, real talk, you were stopped early. And even though the post-fight conference, he seemed like he was in good spirits, he was the better man, and all that other, default dialogue that they like to use, so they won't be accused of making excuses. There comes a time when you just gotta let people know. I came in here with an injury, something. If JROCK didn't come in there with an injury or had an injury, and just didn't get that quality training in, what happened? Something ain't right. I'm gonna be absolutely honest. Something wasn't right with him performing marginally the way he did, below standards, against a fighter who went in there and lost against Nathaniel Gallimore. But JROCK was in there with Nathaniel Gallimore. Even though it was a tough fight, back and forth, he was able to get the win. But when you talk about Rosario coming back as this monster, people out here saying, he's going to shake up the whole division. Y'all need to back away from the table and put the shot glass down. Seriously. You can, it's no way you can sit up here and just see what happened to JROCK, right? You just saw what happened to JROCK, and then you turn around and say now Rosario is going to take over the division. So you actually believe Rosario has the punching power. Rosario reminds me of a Jaime McGill. Seriously, I said last night, it looks like he's not doing that much. Even Jaime McGill lands punches every now and then. You know, he's able to get in there and do some damage. Jason Rosario, that was his night yesterday. And he was able to break Julian Williams down enough to land some heavy shots and get the fight stopped. Why do I see people out here acting like he's the new becoming? How can you say that and you didn't give JROCK the same love and attention and believing he was going to have a long reign as a junior middleweight champion? I didn't hear that. And you're definitely not going to try to convince me that the performance last night proved anything except he went in there and got the belts. That's it. That's all I can say. Until he's stepping there with Jermell Charlo, you know what I'm saying? That's really the fight, or rematch Nathaniel Gallimore in between that. It's plenty of fights out there that's interesting for him to jump into. I think a fight with Nathaniel Gallimore. He's just coming off fight camp though. He took a last minute replacement, and he dropped that fight. So I'm not sure if Rosario will want to go to Nathaniel Gallimore now. I'm not sure if Nathaniel. I don't know. I don't know if that's on Rosario's radar or not. Seriously, we don't know. The more money fight, putting the butts in the seats, definitely Jermell Charlo. Definitely. And I can guarantee you this. And once again, I'm not one to sit up here and be all in acting goofy about the Charlo brothers with my hands up in the air like I just don't care. There's no way he's knocking out Jermell Charlo in 5 rounds. I don't see him knocking out Jermell Charlo at all. Jason Rosario had an astounding night. He performed well. His halo was bright. He went in there and landed the amount of punches. He gradually worked up his output, his volume, enough to, break Julian Williams down, disrupt his rhythm, start making Julian wear the fight, especially when he was able to cut him, and kind of broke the confidence a little bit from Julian, JROCK. Because JROCK started to back up a lot. He wasn't engaging as much. So, yeah, it just comes down to, you think that the Jermell Charlo we just seen with Tony Harrison, the pressure he's going to put on Rosario. Come on, man. We didn't even see the pressure that JROCK put on Jarrett Hurd. The first round was the best round he had of the whole night. After that, he started walking with crutches. We truly don't know what's popping, what's going on. Was there something in training camp that you had to let heal and you wasn't able to do a certain area of sparring? We don't understand. But what we do know, you didn't look like the same JROCK that went in there and just gave Jarrett Hurd everything you had, and he couldn't deal with you that night. That's the JROCK we did not see yesterday. You know what I'm saying? But make no mistake about it, I'm telling you, Rosario went in there and blasted JROCK, especially in the 5th round. The 5th round was one of the most dominant. He did hurt him in the 4th, I believe. But that 5th round was absolutely a demolition. He was the one doing all the charges. Rosario was blowing up JROCK's chin. And if the referee wouldn't have stopped it, we would have seen JROCK on the canvas. I don't think he took enough punishment. To be an unlicensed physician over here or doctor to say, well, if he would have knocked JROCK down, it would have been extensive mental or brain damage, CT. Nah, I'm just saying JROCK was in a bad place. That right uppercut that Rosario stepped in and hit him with was on the button. Doorbell, cracked the window. Everything about that punch lit up JROCK. Early 4th of July. And the only thing I can say about it is that was only your second loss, but you're going to have people treating it like it was your fifth loss. You know what I'm saying? Because when you have losses on your record and all of them pretty much are the same way, a knockout, people are going to start questioning, okay, can he come back? Can he come back? What about his chin? They're going to start giving you that con work. You know, in the media, every time con names come up, you know, people tend to think about wet party confetti. You know what I'm saying? Shard glass, a barrel of leaves in the fall. We start thinking of Charmin cotton balls. We start thinking all the soft contents that you can pack into a box to mail something off. That's what we talk about sometimes when it comes to Amir Khan Chin. It just seems like he can't stay up no more. And really, when it comes to these boxers, so-called having a fragile chin, it's not the fact that their chin is messed up. It's neurologically deficient somewhere. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. You know, you have that cutoff that you're unable to take a punch or work yourself out of a knockout. Everybody recovers different. Like you look at how Gotti took so much punishment, and he would get hurt and then he would come back, hurt and then come back. You know, there's been so many fights out there. Look at Israel Vasquez that lost his eye. Wars. You know what I'm saying? Look at back in the day, the Durans, Chavez's, even Marvin Hagler. You know, he used to tuck his chin. Evander Holyfield took a lot of punishment in his head. Everybody is different. You know what I'm saying? Lennox Lewis, exception. You know, he was knocked out by Hasim Rothman, returned and just straight annihilated him, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's so many knockouts to go over in boxing history, but when you have two losses that ended in devastating fashion, then people are going to look at it like, okay, they're looking at your fight to see if you're going to get knocked out. Not so much to see if you're going to win, to see if you can survive. And when you have that type of crowd surrounding you, it's going to get a little shaky. You know what I'm saying? The weather is going to be a bit inclement than the regular healthy, you know, sunshine that you're used to there, JROCK. You know, people are going to start showering you with those knockout questions, and it's not going to be pleasant anymore. It's not going to be like when you was champion. It's just going to be a whole nother type of energy that you have to deal with. And he's a good dude, man. I met him outside the Barclays. JROCK is a good dude. None of this has nothing to do with, you know, unloading a clip on JROCK with verbal sparring. No, I'm just saying Rosario went in there and had a superb performance, period. Now, what I'm hearing about him knocking out the rest of the division, stop it, man. Y'all chill, man, chill with that, because, you know, when media gets out here and say he's going to go out here and just destroy Jermell Charlo, that ain't happening. That's not happening. You think Jermell Charlo is going to pipe down that freaking early in the fight? The way he looked against freaking Tony Harrison, the way he was digging, sitting on his punches, you think Rosario is going to be able to handle that pressure? You know, when, you know, the time that really Rosario shined is when Julian Williams was wavering, faltering. Like whenever his health and conditioning was in a degraded status, that's when Rosario started to shine. Yes, he landed some punches from the second through the fourth round, but it wasn't like, you know, he had him wobbling all those rounds. You know, a little bit in the fourth, and then came out in the fifth and closed the show. So now The masses want to see this. What's next for Jason Rosario after a fantastic win this weekend? What is next for you? That's what we want to know. Are you going to try to unify the division and keep this action? Keep the attention on you. Keep people with open eyes to say, man, we want to know what Rosario is going to do next, man. That's what you have to do, because really no one knows too much about you. They know that you fought this weekend, but as far as everything else, to the Hispanic fan base and everything, a lot of boxing fans don't know who Jason Rosario is. I know it's a lot of people that's genuinely happy that you went out there and became unified champion, and it was good to see you pick up those titles. But you in a division where you have a Charlo brother that's waiting, right or wrong. He has a Charlo brother that's waiting. And the Charlos, man, are still trying to prove themselves too, man. I don't care what nobody say. The Charlo brothers are still trying to prove themselves, man. I don't want to hear anything but that. They're still trying to prove themselves too. So what better way to try to unify the division? Charlo needs that big fight. And it would be a perfect timing for Jermell Charlo to somehow come together contractually at the round table, him and both teams, lines only promotion, and whoever Jason Rosario is under, and come up with this fight. Seriously. Forget the WBO. Go for the WBC. Go for the bigger name. Or better yet, Rosario, I wouldn't want to see him face Tony Harrison after that fight with Charlo. Erickson Lubinson is still in the hunt. He's salivating out there in the Serengeti. He want to step in there and get another shot. They kind of rolled him off since his knockout from Jamal. So, from Charlo. So, we want to see that too. Erickson Lubin is on a proving grounds too, man. He's trying to get his name and respect back in the boxing community. He out here trying to do the most. The way these guys, JROCK and Erickson Lubin, went out, it was in brutal fashion. It just so happened that the uppercut that Jamal landed on JROCK, he was still semi-conscious. You know what I'm saying? He was semi-conscious, but he was still stopped in devastating fashion. What Jamel did to Erickson Lubin was a shot that was out of a freaking horror flick. When you have an individual that's possessed and the soul is trying to leave the body, that's what we're seeing with Erickson Lubin. It's one of the most watched knockouts you'll ever see on the highlight reel. Once again, Erickson Lubin ran into that right uppercut. This is Jamel, not Jamal. You know what I'm saying? And to see him try to get up, it was almost like, his equilibrium just wouldn't allow him to do it. But since that fight, y'all, he's 3 out of 4 when it comes to stoppages. You know what I'm saying? 3 out of 4. He had Ortiz, Ishe Smith, Atawi, I believe his name, Ato. And then most recently, like I said, Nathaniel Gallimore had a last-minute replacement, and he was able to earn a unanimous decision over Nathaniel Gallimore in October 2019. That's where Erickson Lubin is at. So we might indeed see his name pop up in the mix. Should Erickson Lubin attempt to get, that run it back with Jermell Charlo? Of course he is. But would Jermell Charlo give Lubin a shot at anything and he don't have a title? I don't believe so, man, because the Charlo brothers, you know how they get down, man. Everybody want to talk this, get a title. Just like, Errol Spence told Terrence Crawford to get a title. Sean Porter told Errol Spence, get a title. Everybody has that same melody they want to sing, man, when somebody wants a title shot these days. It ain't all about just saying, let's sit down and make this happen because you're a top name in the business and we want to get it on. All right. Now it's all about, do you have a title? What can you do for me? Do you have a title? Everybody can't have a title, even though there are a plethora of titles out here in the boxing community. But when you have a division that is heavy and you have a lot of savage, and you have a lot of freaking lions roaming, hyenas roaming the plains, man, you want to link up, especially if they come in to hunt for you. You want to link up and say, okay, let's make this happen, man. Okay, Erickson Lubin, I knocked you out the first time. Why not? It's a good fight. I think people come and see it. Let's run it back for a rematch. I mean, Canelo and Saul Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin did it. They did it. You know what I'm saying? It's plenty of individuals that's out here that's not afraid of rematching. But we need to kind of get this accomplished down in the lighter weight classes. We really need to make that happen. Danny Garcia, even at the welterweight division, all those promising fights up there. But if you look at their record, who did Errol Spence rematch? You're not going to rematch anybody unless they get a title. Can't speak too much on Terrence Crawford because he just got there. You know what I'm saying? It's not really any worthy opponent that he's dispersed in that division to rematch. What about Sean Porter? You know what I'm saying? Sean Porter, Keith Thurman? We haven't seen that. Sean Porter, Danny Garcia? Nope. He definitely not going to rematch Yordenis Ugas. Who else is out there? They're not rematching, man. They're not giving these fighters that possibly may have been stopped or defeated rematches so easily. Because they're saying, I beat you, I'm moving on. That is the new era of boxing. Understand that. That's pretty much what I want to touch on with that. I really hope they get it together. I think it's an exciting matchup between Jason Rosario and Jermell Charlo. I really do. I really believe that the press conference is not going to be as you would expect, dealing with Tony Harris and Jermell Charlo, but I believe the fight itself with Rosario and Charlo will really test both fighters, hands down. I think it'll test both fighters, and we'll get a quality matchup. Even with Erickson Lubin. Erickson Lubin, I mean, how many fights he has to win to make himself available for a title shot? You know what I'm saying? He shouldn't have to win 10 freaking fights. He's on a 4-fight win streak. And is it time yet? You know what I'm saying? How many other fights does this man have to win to get back, in the grip, in the square, man, the quadrant? He's 22-1 with 16 knockouts, man. AKA the Hammer, Southpaw. What do you have to do to get back in the making, man, and to have his name called standing across the ring from Jermell Charlo? We want to see that, man. We definitely want to see these kids. Look, they ain't getting any younger. Jermell Charlo is 29 years old already. And Erickson Lubin has time on his side a bit. He's 24 years old. But he doesn't have any type of title or badges or valuable jury to bring to the game to kind of pique the interest of the Charlo brothers who, Jermell Charlo is all about. I can't say it's all about because they fought some basic individuals. But I'm saying when it comes to a name like Lubin, who I believe deserves a rematch now, they need to take that in consideration. Real talk. They need to take that in consideration. The fight below that, Chris Colbert. I can't knock him too much because, that was probably, a tougher fight than it looked on TV. a tougher fight in person, being that he's a boxer. I wasn't too impressed for a rising superstar like Colbert, aka Primetime, on the performance that he put on yesterday. I think he could have did more, less showboating. I really thought he was just going to be in there taking it serious since it was a championship fight for the interim title, but he didn't give us that. He was like, just when he wanted this showboat, he did land periodically, but it was just too much in between of dead space. It wasn't no action going on with Chris Colbert. We didn't see that prime time. You know what I'm saying? We didn't see the ultimate entertainment value with the purple hair and the freaking special ring attire with all the sponsors on it. I think he just may have did just enough to get the win, or his cardio wasn't where it needed to be, and he gave us what he could. But he'll be back. Salute to Chris Colbert, aka Primetime Man, for getting that victory. Salute to you. Real talk. Now to the UFC, man. I just want to break some things down to some people who's back on the Conor McGregor bandwagon. I said it. We have the returning fanboys, casuals, closet seekers that peeked their head out when Conor was out here being stupid and wasn't saying anything on social media. They're acting like Conor McGregor went in there and fought Khabib the Nurmagomedov in a rematch and subbed him out or knocked him out in the first round. These people really get down and believing that Conor McGregor's performance yesterday was something of a spectacular nature, something that was just absolutely breathtaking. It wasn't, man. Cowboy Cerrone did not fight anywhere close to he has in his past. The man is known to get busy, to be about that business, to give you the smoke. He didn't do anything to Conor McGregor. They clinched in the first round. Conor's up here hopping around like we haven't seen boxers do the shoulder bump. We see that all the time. We even seen mixed martial artists do it. You know, they can be chest to chest, whether on the ground or in the clinch up against the cage, and they do the same thing Conor McGregor did. I just don't like how people tend to just blow it up like this is a new phenomenon. They never seen it before. Conor pushed him up against the cage, tried to land a knee. And then, Cowboy Cerrone threw one right high kick. Conor McGregor returned it with his own kick. It wasn't even a shin kick. It wasn't even the top side of the foot. It was just the tip of the foot. And people acting like it's one of those high kicks that was just like swinging the axe, and it wasn't. The fact was, Cowboy Cerrone didn't do anything to defend. He didn't do anything special as far as letting us see the raw Cowboy come out. We didn't see that ignited energy that we used to with Cowboy. We just saw Conor McGregor walk through him, get the stoppage, and then, keep it light on the mic post-fight with Joe Rogan. And then, he didn't call out too many people that were sitting ringside. It was plenty of people for him to call out that would have made the whole entire night, that would have had us media talking. If he would have called out Jorge Masvidal, for one, that he want him next, that would have been something for the media to run with. He could have called out the champion, Kamaru Usman. He don't have too many people to call out at welterweight division because he's just not going to get that open door policy straight to the championship. It ain't going to happen. And really, the true purists don't want to see him face Kamaru Usman right now. And no way, I think Dana White would hold true to his integrity a bit more and not schedule Conor McGregor to fight Kamaru Usman just because he's made the UFC millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? I think Dana has more respect for his integrity as the president, so he wouldn't go over there and do such and say the next fight is going to be Kamaru Usman and Conor McGregor. And then people are going to be like, oh man, that's messed up because Jorge Masvidal, he's coming off 5-second knockout. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on here? He has the fastest knockout in UFC history over Ben Askren, who was undefeated at the time, and you're not giving the man a title shot? That's not cool. That's not cool. But, you know, you got those freaking carnival carousel riding Conor McGregor fans back in the damn chute, running through the gate, hopping on a horse, grabbing onto the pole. Let's ride, Conor. I love this Irish music. Let's ride once again. Thank you. No one wants to talk about all the hoopla that was going on with Conor McGregor outside of the cage. All they want to do is hop on that carousel together, and off we go. Round and round we go on the Conor McGregor bandwagon again. He hasn't really, you know, Conor McGregor is doing a change in his freaking persona because it's to help his brand. And, you know, when your own people start turning against you, it really hits home, right? So if you think about certain individuals that have the country representing them and everything, because a lot of United, you know, fighters over here in the United States or the U.S. or whatever, that doesn't mean we wholeheartedly support a U.S. fighter, because we so spoiled. You may get a U.S. fighter in there with a neighboring fighter like Gennady Golovkin, Vasily Lomachenko, and the U.S. fighter, the Americans, haven't really did anything wrong. Been squeaky clean, upstanding individual. And then he do a ring walk, aka Tyson Fury, walking to the ring, people cheering him on. I'm like, how is that possible? Like, how can you be cheering him on more than you can cheer Deontay Wilder? You know what I'm saying? What did Deontay Wilder do to the fans besides continue to pack away championships and victories? Defense of his title. Tyson Fury is coming off a long hiatus. So what I'm trying to say is, a lot of U.S. fans love Conor McGregor because it's something about the UK and the Irish accent. We have a lot of people who go to these fights, and I'm pretty sure it happened this weekend. They was up there with a fake accent. You know what I'm saying? Up here buying expensive bottles of Proper 12. They was just having a good old time. And when it was all over and they woke up this morning, they was like, was all that worth it though? Was Conor McGregor's performance, was it something to celebrate? Was it something to toast to? Because it ended in 40 seconds. For individuals that paid, like myself, it's a regrettable purchase. You sit up there and pay $64 for a 40-second main event. And then the co-main event, you had Holly Holmes facing Raquel Pennington. And I really couldn't tell you what the hell was going on there. I had to hit Holly Holmes up on a tweet and say, Holly, that performance last night, it wasn't one of your best performances. You really are a better fighter than what we've seen. I don't know, with her getting knocked out by Amanda Nunes with a high kick, you have to look at what preceded you to get knocked out. That's because you threw your leg or you didn't know what you was going to do. You're starting to freeze up in between strikes. You starting to freeze up in the point of action. You cannot do that in mixed martial arts. You can't do it in boxing. You know, you see fighters pulling shots sometime, but I'm just saying, like, Holly stuck her leg up like she was going to throw a kick and kept it up there and didn't know what to do. And Amanda said, you know what, I got a check for you, and cashed it off her forehead. It was funds in the bank, but that check bounced right off the forehead of freaking Holly Holmes. Done. So for Holly Holmes to come out there as the co-main event, oh my God, and press Pennington up against the cage, do little damage, and then you know, get the victory, jump on the mic on the post conference, and try to act like I don't fight for anybody. I fight for myself. You know what? That tells me she's a fighter who's a bit agitated somewhere outside of what she's getting in the cage. Seriously, that's Holly Holmes. That's what I see that's going on with her. For her to take that type of mentality from the inception that she stepped in here and worked her way up to get that title shot with Ronda Rousey, her attitude wasn't like that. You know, of course, some personal things that happened, you know, with her husband splitting and all that other stuff. I'm telling you, like, when you want to get on the mic and say you're not fighting for anybody except yourself. Oh, now you think you're in the WWE, you can just turn heel, and you know people don't have to like you. This is not wrestling entertainment. You just can't sit up here and turn bad all of a sudden. And your alias is the preacher's daughter there, Holly Holmes. It's not the mistress' daughter. It's the preacher's daughter. So you have to take that in consideration when you say you ain't fighting for nobody except yourself. She might be going through a period where she's just uncertain right now. She has a lot of doubt. And until that tornado stops spinning, she may come off as abrasive, you know, a little bit belligerent, cantankerous, whatever you choose to call her attitude. But I just felt that her performance pushing Pennington up against the cage, doing minimal freaking damage, you know, just going to a decision, it's not what we need in the women's mixed martial arts. It's not what we need from a former champion in Holly Holmes. If you're listening, I mean no ill will, but I'm just saying I'm keeping it a hundo, 1,000, no cap. I'm just saying right now, I'm not looking forward to seeing you step back in the cage. I'm not looking forward to it. It was disinteresting, man. I am looking forward, though, to seeing Conor step back in the cage against somebody that is important, someone that can continue to test Conor again. Two of his toughest opponents in the UFC has been indeed Nate Diaz and Khabib Nurmagomedov. You take those two right there, and what they was able to do with Conor McGregor and get the submission will prove if he's to step back in there with another fighter who has a solid ground game, who has a solid all-around encompassing skill set. That's what we want to see Conor McGregor in there with. If you want to put Conor in there with a stand-up striker, you know what I'm saying, like a Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, who I believe has moved up anyway. But you want to put him in there just with a posture fighter, you're going to get some pretty decent results. You know, almost like the Eddie Alvarez fight. Conor McGregor can strike intensively and accurately when he has someone to link up with him stylistically with a stand-up battle. Now, when you get someone who's very good at takedowns, who's going to be persistent with their wrestling, once they have them on the ground, they actually know what they're trying to do. They can keep Conor McGregor guessing. Conor McGregor isn't a slouch on the ground like a lot of people thought he was at Nate Diaz, the first Nate Diaz fight. He's okay. I'm not saying he's going to be working off his back and throwing submissions up, doing some jiu-jitsu that we just haven't seen, but he's working on his takedown defense. When Khabib had Conor McGregor on his wallet up against the cage, I like how he scooped the legs up to mobilize rather, Conor McGregor, and allow him to lean heavy on his right side to post that right hand. So all Khabib did was continue to apply top pressure, and then reached over there to Conor McGregor's right hand, right wrist, and after enough pressure, he was just pull it from underneath and try to get Conor on his back. But the one thing about Khabib, he is that badger. He is a Tasmanian. He is relentless at his work. And you know, if I know anything about Conor McGregor, man, the way he talk it sometime, he would definitely want to go get that rematch, just like he did Nate Diaz. He definitely should go back over there. Seriously. Hey, if you in the building, man, smash that like button for me. Unless you in here working. If you in here working, hopefully I'm teaching you something. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you support World Combat Sports. Boxing and MMA, grappling, Muay Thai, all the combat sports variables. I do indeed educate myself on that. So those of you that just tuned in, you know, just hit the thumbs up. I truly appreciate it. There's no need for you all to be watching the Green Bay game and the San Francisco, because the Packers are 0 and the 49ers are 26. 26 to nail, just like tennis. 26 love, goddammit. That's what you're looking at. And it's already almost about to close out the second quarter. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this year's Super Bowl is just going to be like, I didn't think this team was going to be there. I sure enough didn't think this team was going to be there. But that's what it looks like, man. I know Aaron Rodgers is considered one of the greatest, but I just don't see him coming back from a deficit like this into. I just don't see him coming out third and fourth. There go Jerry Rice up there with the San Francisco freaking tag on the chain, you know. So once again, we've seen Tom Brady do it. If Aaron Rodgers can come back and bring this team back, it'll be amazing. But anyway, enough of that. I want to see Khabib go ahead and disperse of Tony Ferguson, bed that rivalry that's been ghost for a while. You know what I'm saying? Put that to rest. And then maybe we can see Conor McGregor, because it's no problem for him to drop back down to 155 and go get that work with Khabib. People will indeed come and see Khabib face Conor McGregor again. You can absolutely bet everything on the house that they'll come and see that fight. And I guarantee you that it'll do better. It will absolutely exceed the numbers that it did the first time. Let me look that up right quick while y'all chilling. Let me see what those numbers look like the first time. They was talking about Conor McGregor friggin' was getting 50 million or something for that fight last night. Man, please. Y'all need to stop that. Okay, let me check this out. Where you at? Okay, viewership. So the Magomedov and McGregor, the fight was watched more than 4 million viewers and reached a peak viewership rating of 67.5% for the time slot in the capital of Moscow. So it's watched by 1,282,000. Okay. So they have different breakdowns of the numbers that it did, but I'm pretty sure it can exceed those numbers if they were to rematch, period. I'm pretty confident in that. But hey, listen up, everybody. That's it for the fight week. I'm pretty sure we will see the winners, the big winners, return back to their battlegrounds once a fight is signed that people want to see. The good thing about it, both divisions in both genres of combat sports for those winners have some solid competition awaiting. Just like Rosario has plenty, has two good names out there, two to three good names out there that he can fight. All right. And then you turn around and look at the fact of Conor McGregor at welterweight division. Will he stay up there and fight Jorge Masvidal, or will he in fact drop back down to 155 if Khabib Nurmagomedov defeats Tony Ferguson? Will we see Conor McGregor drop back down for a rematch? Because, either way, Dana White wants the biggest fight. He want to bring in the biggest money. So he's definitely going to try to make this fight happen in 2020, either way you look at it. Israel Adesanya and John Jones, I don't think it's going to happen in 2020. He has to get past Joel Romero. But in the interim, Conor McGregor getting this fight over with, comes out and say he fighting Jorge Masvidal, if he's willing to do that. Then Khabib, he has a fight coming up with Tony Ferguson. It can go either way. A fork in the road. It can go either way. So just keep your finger crossed. That's what it is. Hey, be sure to follow me on all social media platforms. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. We have some big fights coming up. And also, World Combat Sports is going to continue to grow. One team, one fight for the supporters. I appreciate you. Follow me on IG. And be sure to turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports.